Welcome to this episode of the Section 17 podcast. We apparently have an in-studio audience now. I'm your host, Brian Kennedy, alongside my co-host, Josh Cox, and the big dog, Scott Medlin. And if you notice, we're down a man tonight. Jamie will not be with us tonight. Now, Josh found a new toy with the sound effects. Josh, stop it. Jamie's claiming that he left his computer at the house after he left, but we all think after Saturday's results, he might have just left it on purpose while he went to the beach. But enough of that. We're a man down tonight, so you get the three of us for this week's episode. And as I stated, not the weekend this past weekend that any Duke fan wanted. We had talked about it. Non-conference game in November. The Blue Devils went up to Connecticut and unfortunately lost 37-34 to the UConn Huskies. We're going to have another great episode. We've got the mailbag. Maybe a 2-minute tirade. We're kind of on the fence about it because we're respected journalists in some people's eyes. We don't want to lose that credibility. So we'll discuss that as we get close to it. We've got our predictions, have a Did You Know? And of course, we've got to keep all of these beautiful lights on so we can bring you another episode. And Josh, why don't you go ahead and get us started first with our sponsors?
Absolutely. We appreciate our sponsor, El Rodeo, North Duke Street in Durham. They bring you great Mexican food, great atmosphere, whatever you need there. I mean, here it is. Again, I went there on Sunday, and again, my daughter got the queso in honor of Quayshawn Brown. And so, and I would encourage you to go there anytime you want to party. Take a party there. They got a back room. They've got really good food. What did I get? Also, we got queso, and then I got a quesadilla this week. So hit that up. Send us a picture. We do appreciate our friends there at El Rodeo. And then not to be outdone, our friends from Hometown Air.
Your HVAC system works hard all year. Shouldn't you have a team that works just as hard for it? Hometown Air's service contracts give you peace of mind, priority service, and preventative care to keep your system running efficiently for as long as possible. It's all about staying ahead of problems so your system lasts longer and your home stays comfortable. Keep it simple, stay comfortable, and enjoy the season without worry. Mention the Section 17 podcast for 10% off your next visit. Call 919-568-3212 or visit hometownairnc.com for your free quote today.
And Hometown Air will actually be doing a giveaway at the tailgate, Josh, this weekend for the Virginia game.
That's right. I'm actually rocking the T-shirt that's going to be given away. It's got our logo at the top, and it's got a little Hometown Air. And then there's also stuff on the back. But they're going to be at our tailgate. We're going to do some giveaways. So if we're going to go ahead and talk about that, I'm throwing in another thing for the giveaway. This is a Gothic D, because we can't say Duke. Gothic D. This is a New Era 950 snapback. So really legit. We'll be doing that as a giveaway at the tailgate. We'll give you more information on the tailgate later on in the episode. Brian, we got one more sponsor to thank.
We do, and that sponsor is Realtor Matt Lunsford Bliven. When it comes to buying, selling, investing, or building here in Durham and around the Triangle, Matt's always ready to help you move the chains. He'll quarterback the whole process from kickoff to the final whistle so you never fumble a deal. If you're looking for a real estate win, put your trust in Realtor Matt Lunsford Bliven, helping you score big in Durham and beyond. For more information, now listen here, folks. Email Matt at mlb@chappell, that's CHAPPELL, res.com. Matt wanted to make sure to let everyone know that he has changed firms, so he does have a new email in case you wanted to learn more from Matt. And Matt's doing a giveaway as well, our ticket giveaway for the Virginia game. Josh, did we ever decide exactly what we're doing for the giveaway?
Yes, Brian. I'm glad you asked. On YouTube, we're going to ask that you comment on YouTube, and you're going to say the word giveaway. Other side, Scott. You're going to say the word giveaway, and then you're going to put your all-time favorite Duke player. And then we'll take those that commented giveaway and your all-time favorite Duke player, and we will draw a name, and you'll get 2 free tickets to this week's UVA game. By the way, this is the employee game. There are not many tickets available because of all the allotment that was given to the employees. So this is a game that you may definitely need extra tickets for. So YouTube comment giveaway and your all-time favorite Duke player.
All right, Scott, did you almost decide not to join us for the episode too? We saw you left for there for a few minutes.
So yeah, trying out new equipment. Basketball season starts Friday. Guess what? I still don't know how to use the stuff like I'm supposed to. So hey,
Technology 1, Scott 0. All right,
Yes,
let's
sir.
go ahead. Well, go ahead. Okay, he muted himself. All right, let's knock this out, fellas. As I stated, not the outcome that any of us wanted to see this past weekend as Duke fell to Connecticut 37-34. The trap game did, in fact, happen. And let's just knock this out. This was a game of highs, game of lows, a game of really what ifs. So let's just give our thoughts. I'm unmuted. I will say, and I think I speak for the guys when I say this, there were times to where we were running the ball so efficiently and so effectively with Nate Shepard. Shout out, by the way, Nate. I believe it was, Josh is just having way too much fun with the sound effects today. 100 yards, 2 touchdowns on 16 carries. When all that happened, then Duke abandoned the run, it would seem. It was almost like we outcoached ourselves, and I'm not calling out anyone. I'm just going off of what I saw on the CBS Sports Network. So we talked about this game against Connecticut, a non-con game in November. Yes, I know the big programs do it, but you got to start asking, do you think the team was possibly looking ahead to the Virginia matchup? Because another thing that we noticed, penalty yards yet again. And Scott, you actually asked Coach Diaz about that, and I'll let you elaborate more. But it just seems like every game, Duke is just racking up the penalty yards. Now, I don't know if that would have affected the outcome ultimately of UConn winning or Duke coming back and winning, but it just, I don't know. It was one of those games that felt off. It felt weird. It just seemed like the team was not in sync. Guys, I mean, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, I know I'm kind of rambling, but just going back playing the game through my head, it was just one of those games where we looked good 1 minute and then we looked like we were lost the next minute on the field.
Well, talking about penalties, it's actually interesting. Coach Diaz is not the only one that mentioned it. Pat Gee also mentioned it today. Just, they both mentioned the word undisciplined. So, I mean, that we're kind of at that point now where we all believe this. They said they worked through it. He said pre-snap penalties are just unacceptable, and post-snap penalties are unacceptable because there was a lot of chirping both ways. But the thing to me is, it's like, I mean, I understand penalties happen. Just like the roughing the passer. That's to me, it's a 50-50 deal. Granted, he has to change how he's going in at the quarterback. If he doesn't hit him in the face mask, no penalties called. That's a 4th down play. Duke gets the ball. Instead, they go down, and then Duke's defense is confused as they ever could have been, where the guy just basically walks in between 2 defenders and stands right down, and my man throws the ball right there between the 2 of them. So, I mean, as far as we're concerned, I think I'll say these penalties are starting to get unacceptable. And a lot of times it's guys that have been here for 4 years, have been playing college football. If it's a true freshman, okay, no problem. Gotcha. But these are guys making the penalties that the guys have been here for a while. And I know, don't get me wrong, I'm not pointing at any fingers. I'm not going after anybody, because I'm sure those same guys will stand right here and tell you they're just as angry about making the penalties and things not going right as we are sitting here talking about it. And that's one of the things I do like about, sports. People that, admit they screwed up and try to right it. But we got to quit screwing up. We got to quit getting these penalties. I don't care where it is. I don't care when it is. The penalties, it was 68 yards of penalties last week. That's unacceptable. I don't care who you are. You just cannot do that. And that's going to end up being possibly a bugaboo that's going to cost Duke some games because, again, you pick up penalties, you make bad mistakes. I mean, one of the things that they mentioned today was they even set up perfectly on the punt fake defense. They had called it, and the guy got at a bad angle that was supposed to be out there making the tackle, and he didn't call anybody out. I'm not going to call anybody out because I didn't pay that much attention to it. But the fact that they didn't get out there, and the guy still got the first down, and it was a switch. It was like a 180 from last week to this week. Duke fourth down every time at Clemson, boom, first down. This week, fourth down, they couldn't stop it. Even if it was 4th and 20, it seemed like they were going to get a pass 21.5 yards. So, I mean, it's one of the things that's frustrating. Obviously, you guys are just as frustrated as we are, and they have to be frustrated in that locker room. They have to look at the 4 losses and think, my goodness, we should have won 3 of these 4 games running away. So at this point, I mean, I'm going to say it this way. Forgive me. We got to man up. We got to man up this Saturday. We got a good team coming in. I don't care what happened with the quarterback. I don't care what injuries, any crap like that. You got to man up this week. You want to beat this team? You want to be the man? You got to beat the man. In the words of the great Ric Flair. So if you're going to win, go out there and beat them. But if you're going to sit there and get penalty after penalty after penalty and be undisciplined, you're going to lose games. And then we're going to be sitting at home at Christmas watching the nice bowl games on TV while everybody else is out there having a good time.
Did we just have the 2-minute tirade? I mean, that was borderline, Scott. Very nice. Welcome back, Scott Medlin.
Judging by the amount of questions that we have, that might have been the 2-minute tirade for real, because we're going to be over time probably after we get done with these questions. But no, my big picture thoughts on UConn. First of all, shout out to their crowd. I know it was a big game for them. They showed up. Evidently, Skylar Bell is going to be like an NFL wide receiver, and the one time that Chandler was not on him for whatever reason, they switched off. He gets the game-winning touchdown. Once again, not to call anyone out, but he gets the game-winning touchdown. Not to call out individuals in our secondary again, but there were 2 touchdowns. Scott already alluded to the first one. Literally one of our DBs, who I know his name and I will not say it, one of our young DBs moves over right before the snap to double team someone on the right side of the field who was not Skylar Bell, leaving open the zone for Fagnano to throw the touchdown pass to. It was baffling. And then later on, there was a linebacker and safety miscommunication on another touchdown that UConn had. And so I don't know what to say other than we tweeted, it's disappointing. It's embarrassing. And there's no reason for this Duke team to lose to UConn. That's all due respect to UConn. And seriously, I mean, they're 7-3 now, all due respect. But Duke had no business losing that game. In the first drive, Duke scores on 3 plays, 55 yards. Literally could not be stopped. And then for whatever reason, we figure out ways to not execute. So we're going to talk more because we're about to hop into the mailbag. But my thoughts are 5-4 is not it. That is not it. I don't care to be honest with you, I don't care where we're at in the ACC when it comes to that. We're 5-4 overall. We're 1-3 in non-conference play. We only beat Elon. And if we remember, we didn't even get control of that game until the end of the third quarter. So, I mean, what a disappointing non-con for this Duke football program.
I haven't looked, and I should have. When was the last time we went 1-3 or 0-4 non-con? It's been years.
It's going to be the cut years, the last cut years, because we only went 2 and whatever and 3 and whatever in his last 2 years.
True. Yeah.
But
but still, I mean,
I mean, let's be real. Like, is that where we're at?
We might talk about that more when we get into the mailbag. Let's get into that here in just a second. But speaking of Fagnano, I mean, I've got to give his credit because he picked apart this defense. Even if it was the deke and dunk passes and the plays. I mean, on the year, and I didn't realize this when we were talking about last week, he's not thrown an interception at all this year. 25
think I mentioned it
touchdowns.
last week, but you were
Yeah,
zoned out.
yeah, I know. That was my zone out moment, like we discussed. Don't worry. I'll have another one here. But, I mean,
Well, and Brian, to your point, real quick, they said this on the broadcast, and I agree with that was the one time I agree with the broadcast. But Fagnano, it's not that he just throws a ton of safe stuff. He does check down quite a bit, but he throws the ball. I mean, he threw some 50-50 balls, and like he takes some risk. I don't know how he hasn't thrown a pick this whole season. Maybe it's because they've been playing high school football teams, but he hasn't thrown a pick. And at the end of the day, that's awesome no matter what level you're playing against.
Wait, did he play another high school football team this past weekend? Is that what you're trying to say?
No comment.
Okay. All right. Well, we better move on because we might get ourselves in trouble talking about last week. We got to look ahead, and we'll talk Virginia here shortly, but we've got to answer some questions from you, the fans. Thanks again to each and every one of you for submitting questions. Obviously, Jamie not being here, Josh has to pick up his slack. So Josh has got all the questions that we can potentially answer in this week's episode edition of the mailbag. There we go. So Josh, why don't you go ahead and get us rolling?
Yeah, I'm going to give two. Jamie does this often. I'm going to give two at the beginning here, just kind of statements. So no reason for us to necessarily answer it. But Brian Jones on X at CBJones725 said, we recognize that this was going to be UConn's Super Bowl and they were much better than their reputation. It's just frustrating that Duke, being the more talented team, did not meet the moment. We hear about the Duke standard a lot, and that standard should have beaten UConn. So 110% agree with you, Brian.
Should. And I'll talk more about that once you're done with the statement.
Yep. And then the second statement from Matt Brinson at BrinsonMatt10 on X, Duke's defense has only showed up for a full game one time at Syracuse. That's the defense we all were expecting. Duke can easily win out or lose out. To think Duke possibly won't make a bowl is wild. Also, this is a great statement and just comment. I would love to see this year's offense paired with last year's defense. So I thought that was interesting statement.
CFP, here we come.
Yeah.
If we could actually do that.
Yep.
Pair the offense and the defense. All right. What's the first question?
Here we go.
I'll hold off. All
right. Here we're from Jacob Ross at Ross Jacob 684. He sends us questions almost every week. Do you guys think we will win one game to make it to a bowl game? Because I don't see us winning out. That's a little bit of a big picture question. But what do you see us winning one more game?
Well, let me go back to what the last statement. Yes, our defense showed up against Syracuse, but it was against the Syracuse that had just lost their starting quarterback, and they were reeling. So we've got to think about that. It was a complete game because you had the opposing team struggling to mix in the quarterback, the backup, and Scott even said he looked lost. But anyway, that's a great question, these last three games, because preseason Section 17 thought, Virginia, easy win. Wake, easy win. UNC, easy win. Now it's Virginia, this ain't looking good. UNC, they have finally found their stride under Grandpa, as much as I hate to say it. Now, it's been against Stanford, which doesn't look great, and Syracuse, which we just talked about. But still, they are on that momentum train right now. They have won 2 straight games. They win this week, and I don't even know who they're playing. They're on a 3-game winning streak, and Duke comes into Chapel Hill, with a victory bell on the line. And Scott alluded to this before we started the recording. If Duke doesn't beat Virginia and UNC wins against their matchup, it'll be 5-5 versus 5-5. Winner takes the bell. Winner gets a bowl invite. Loser goes into the last game hoping to get a win and bowl eligibility. And Wake Forest, Wake Forest is an anomaly. When they first started the season, I thought, man, this is going to be a good Wake team. We're in trouble. But now recently, I think Connor O'Neill, who covers Wake, he was saying, how are they determining who starts the game? Flip a coin, duck, duck, goose, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. That's what I said to him. So we don't know what quarterback heading into the last game of the year we're going to face. But to answer your question, I think there's a win there sprinkled in between one of those three teams. I just don't know who, because I could see us losing to Virginia, and then we go to Chapel Hill and beat the brakes off UNC, and then we go back home and Wake beats us. I mean, that is just coastal chaos in the ACC summed up right there. Could we go 0-3 these last three games? Absolutely. Could we go 3-0 these last three games? Absolutely. It's just, I think us as Duke fans are wondering which team's going to show up. And I say team, I don't say offense or defense. And how will we respond, especially after this heartbreaking loss to UConn? So, me personally, I see us winning 2 out of the last 3. But I'm not going to say who. We got predictions later on.
Well, you alluded to Wake Forest. That is exactly who Chapel Hill plays this weekend.
Thank you.
So, yeah. I mean, I think Duke can win out. Ask me after Saturday what my answer would be, because I really don't know. And here's the crazy part. I blame U2 TV and I blame Vegas, because Vegas has Duke as the favorite again. How many times has that worked out? Honestly, how many times, I got to clean it up, has it worked out? So I don't know, man. I go into each game, and I'm an old man when it comes to a lot of things, obviously. I get that pit feeling in my stomach because I've been around long enough. And Saturday, even early, even after we scored the first drive, I had that feeling in the pit of my stomach that this was going to be a long day and that Duke was not going to come out with as a winner. I didn't have any reason to back it up. I've just watched enough football in the 45 years of my life that I paid attention to football to know, yeah, my long division over there. That's right. This is where algebra comes into life. But anyway, so I don't know, man. I think they can win 2. Brian alluded to what I said before we started. If it really does come down to next Saturday as the chance to go to a bowl game or not, if Duke were to lose next Saturday, I know we're way ahead of ourselves. I'm 7 days down the road. Does this team even care when they come back from Thanksgiving? That's a whole conversation for another day. And I don't think they would give up, because I think these guys are way beyond that. But I'm saying a lot of teams would. So that's just I think they can win it out. I think they'll win a game. If they do win, then we're going to go to sunny Florida before Christmas.
Yeah. Well, I don't have much to add to that, to be honest with you. I will ask to add, to kind of pile on a little bit here. Josh Jarrell on Facebook asks, honestly, what happened to the defense? They can't tackle or cover. This is Charlotte, Richmond levels of bad. This team is obviously poorly coached on every phase. Also, this is a completely other side of the ball here, but I think pertinent. Thanks to the staff for taking the ball out of Nate Shepherd's hands. So, what, in your opinion, what has happened to this defense, guys? I mean, there's going to be a follow-up question here in a minute. That's very intriguing, but what do you think has happened to this defense?
I'll say this, and it was kind of alluded to today. Defensive line, we have got gobs and gobs and gobs of bodies. Linebackers, we have more guys hurt than we do healthy. DBs, we have, and on the back end of the defense, we're talking about at the end game situation last week, we had 3 true freshmen on the field again. Now, granted, this is game 10. They're not freshmen completely, but they still have not been in these situations. And Josh mentioned this 100 times in our group chat during the game. They kept running these weird plays. I mean, it was not a regular tight end here or there. It was just something odd. They run a formation out to the back. They dump the ball back to the tight end who was just blocking. I mean, who's looking to block that? So you're talking about true freshmen out there trying to cover that. So let's be honest. These kids are doing a great job as true freshmen. Gompers, Pellicciata, Mekhi Jones, Nolan Turner,
Caleb Lanier sighting
Caleb
in
Lanier.
the fourth
I'm sorry,
quarter.
Caleb Lanier. I said Nolan
Yeah.
Turner. I meant Caleb Lanier.
Yeah.
28 snaps, by the way, is what they had him down for Saturday.
Yeah.
Never seen it
Wow.
before.
Yeah. No, Scott, I think you're right. I mean, the word I kept using in the group text was, and kudos to UConn. This is not a criticism. They gimmicked their way down the field often. I mean, there were gimmick plays. I mean, trick plays, misdirection plays, plays that like I remember Duke running when Duke was like decidedly the lesser talented team on the field, and you had to run those weird. I remember Duke running a tight end, like they would run everybody to one side of the field, and a tight end would leak out the opposite way, and we've scored a couple touchdowns like that. And that's the kind of plays you run when you know you're outmatched. And UConn was outmatched, and Duke just did not make the adjustments. But to try to answer the question of what's wrong with the defense, I mean, listen, you never can predict injuries. But I do believe that last year, Duke hit the portal in some areas that probably in hindsight, they wish they'd have probably hit again this year. Obviously, Kendall Johnson being out in this game as well. I didn't even realize that until I saw him standing beside Coach Diaz randomly in a jogging suit. That doesn't help, but I got to be honest with you. I'm just, as far as like good right now, like legitimately good football player in upper ACC play in our secondary right now, we have 1.5. In my opinion, we have 1.5. Chandler Rivers is the one. I'll let you guess who the half one is, and the rest of them just have to. They're either true freshmen and are just having to get their feet under them, or they're just not playing to the level that you have to play to win ACC football games or games against UConn, evidently as well. So anyway, that's my thought on it. I agree with you, Scott, and I agree with what was said today. The defensive line is the least of our worries. Would love for them to not get called offsides, on multiple occasions during a game. But other than that, no complaints on the defensive line. So,
and it shows in the stats. I always bring up where Duke is in NCAA rankings compared to the opponents, and based off of what the stats are saying, Duke is 51st in rush defense. So the D-line is doing their job. The pass defense, it fell to 126 out of 134. I don't have to say anything else about that. It's porous. It's terrible. But at the same time, Duke fans, we know what we're up against, and we know what we have. And the coaching staff knows what they have. And this is me somewhat defending the coaching staff because we talked about this last week. After the win at Clemson, everything's great. Everything is awesome. We're good. It shouldn't matter how the pass defense is. We beat Clemson. We lose to UConn. The sky is falling. The world's ending. We're going back to the dark ages. Who needs to be let go? We are on a roller coaster of emotion right now, Duke fans. We are back to the way things used to be. We would get that one win out of 11 games and thought, oh my goodness, this could be the year. We're going to a bowl game. And then 8 games later, we're going, what just happened? We're 1-7.
But in fairness, Brian, the defense was cheeks last week at Clemson, too.
Yeah.
Duke just happened to win.
Yeah.
The defense has been historically bad.
Yes.
Even in the games we've won. We're at the point now where we just have to outscore the teams we're playing. Like, that's the philosophy that I have. Like, we're not going to stop them. We're going to have to outscore them.
Big 12 shootout.
That sucks when your head coach is a defensive first guy and your defense was as good as it was last year. And now you're at the point in the season where it's like, if we don't put up 40 points, good chance we're not winning the game.
And that's the crazy part. With the 20th best offense in the country Duke has, you would think that I don't know. 20th best offense in the country is a good thing and a bad thing, because let's say they drive down the field really quick after the defense just got off, and then the defense has to go back on the field. Like, it's almost a curse in disguise. But I don't know. I mean, it's just, we talked about it. There's a lot of stuff, and you throw in the penalties as well. It's almost like everything else just gets just built up. And then you start picking apart like, well, if we didn't have this 15-yard penalty, if we didn't have this, PI, roughing the passer, offsides, you name it. It's almost like everyone turns into an investigator when things go bad. Like, what is that one thing that it's kind of like a golf game? What's that one thing that if we had not done it, we would be talking about a victory instead of a loss? That always happens when things don't go the way that you want. It's human nature.
Yeah.
And we understand the questions that you're asking us, you the fans. It's just we're not in the rooms. We're not in the meetings. We're not, all we can do is go to the pressers like Scott did for Manny Diaz and just ask the questions. And what we get is what we get as far as an answer.
All right, moving on. I think this is an awesome question, kind of piggybacking on the defense. But name the one player from last year's defense. This is from, by the way, from Blade for Duke, at Blade for Duke on X. Who is name the one player from last year's defense who has missed the most this year? Who does this Duke football team miss the most from last year's defense? And I'll just throw out maybe a selection of names to choose from. Okay. So I think you have Alex Howard. You have Ozzie Nicholas. You have Terry Moore. You have Joshua Pickett. You have Jalen Stinson. To me, those are the names, the 5 names that make the most logical sense to choose from.
Can we say yes to all? No, I think Alex Howard is a big. He came in. I'll be honest. Our expectations of him were low, and he far exceeded those expectations. I would say 2 games in, and then he was the foundation for that linebacker core.
I remember this. I can say this now because I'm no longer working with the NIL program and stuff. I do remember everybody being low on him and me saying right in the preseason and being like, hey, I happen to know what his NIL deal is. So they're going to give him snaps. I know that they gave him enough NIL that he's not going to ride the end of the bench, but that's all we knew. That's all I knew was that he was competitive in that sense. So
yeah, and he definitely shined. Could you imagine if he was on this? I'm pretty sure the passing defense would not be 126th in the country right now. He could read plays, read quarterbacks. He had a couple of picks. He was just everywhere. He led the team in tackles too. That is what we need right now. We need that type of Alex Howard player on the defensive side. So I would say Alex Howard would be my pick.
Hey, we're going off the rails on the crazy train, baby. I'm an Aussie guy. Man, he was great. And, to be honest with you, if you had to do a 1A and a 1B, see, the good news, folks, I can't hear what he's doing. So if he's doing stuff messing with me, I cannot hear a word of it. So whatever. I'll have to go back and listen later and figure out how funny it was. He's making fun of me somehow. But, it's almost like a 1A and a 1B at the linebacker room there. Because last year, unfortunately, injuries happened, and we lost Nick Morris for the year then. And thank God we had these 2 guys. So I think that's one of the things that hurts. We're doing what we can. We're putting. Elliott Shopper was out there until he got hurt. Gompers is out there doing the best he can as a true freshman. We're using the talent that we have, but these guys had 4 years. We're talking about guys who currently have 5 and 6 games as a career in college football.
Yeah. By the way, Scott, it was just a train. You mentioned the crazy train. It was just a train whistle. So no, I'm going to go off that a little bit. I'm going to say Josh Pickett only because I know Josh Pickett had his struggles, but man, it was nice to know that you had a guy opposite of Chandler Rivers that could cover. At a certain level. And right now, you do not know what you're going to get at that other corner spot. You just don't know. There are times when some incredible plays are made and you're like, wow, that was great. And then there's other times where it's just baffling what goes on in coverage. And so I would say Josh Pickett. But I thought that was a really, really, really solid question and really good. Let's see here. Sam at Bleeding Duke Blue on X. At this point, I feel bad even asking y'all questions. expecting y'all to have an answer when no one else does. Just brutal. Duke football is going to always Duke football. With that being said, UVA has not looked great the last 3 weeks. So do they hang 50, 60, or 70 points on us? And that's kind of the experience of Duke football, right? Like teams will struggle and then they show up to play us, and it's like they're going to pull some rabbits out of their hat.
Sam, we can't all win Game 7 of the World Series, buddy. We just can't all do it. But if we score 70, I mean, let's be honest. We already know the crowd is going to be pretty good at start, and then by halftime, there's going to be a lot less people there to start the second half than there were. If Duke gives up 70 points, you may not even see some of the regulars there. Because I'm going to be honest with you, the truck ain't that far out the door. And if Josh has to Uber back to his car, so be it. I'm not sitting there and watching 70 points get put up.
So I'm the support. You guys hear that then. Brian's definitely out. And Scott might be out. So I'll stick around and
wait, did he say 7 or 70? Because it might be either.
Okay, now hold on. If it was like the high school football game that was up here in Granville County last weekend, 69-58, I may stay for that because I mean that's a lot of points. In high school football, that's a lot of freaking points, but there was definitely no defense at all that night.
Okay, well, let's walk through this. Let's actually talk serious here. Virginia's last 3 games, they almost lost to Chapel Hill College in Chapel Hill. They only scored 17 points. That was a brutal game to watch, and yes, I watched it because the missus is a Chapel Hill College fan. Cal, they threw up 31 points, but Cal gave them a run for their money. We beat Cal. Take that for what you will. And then in the Wake Forest game, they lost, of course, 16-9. But you had Morris go down and the backup quarterback, which his name's slipping my mind, get a leg injury, and he had to tough through it. So Virginia's reeling right now. Yes, they have had a great season, but if Morris doesn't play, I think it's Klein.
Daniel Kalen,
not Klein, Kalen. If he's still having those knee issues, that's where you as a team have to attack. You have to expose the flaws. So while we joke about it, this could go one of 2 ways. Yes, Sam, it could go to where even Vegas is expecting Duke to win by 6.5 points or more, and then UVA could hang 50 points on us. Or this could be another Syracuse scenario. Because, again, Wake beat Virginia when Virginia was reeling, when Chandler Morris went out. I believe Coach Elliott has his presser on Tuesday, so we will be looking to see if he has anything to say about the QB situation. But I know we joke. I know we have fun about it. But in all honesty, this was probably the perfect time to catch Virginia. Because if Duke had played Virginia, say, 4 weeks ago, we would probably not be joking about that because Virginia was running on the rails. But now, and we talk about this almost yearly, you have those teams, they start out great, they go out strong, and then a few injuries here and there, even us included, and you see what has happened. This podcast thought Duke would go 9-3 for the season, but then you have some key players go down. Look at where we're at right now. We're talking about hopefully just getting that 6th win to go to a bowl game. So I think this game is more winnable than it was, say, in weeks past.
Yep. All right, here we go. Lane Phipps from Facebook. Shout out Lane. And I think this is a great observation. Do you think Mensa got a talking to at the half about running the football? His second interception of the game would not have happened had he tucked and ran. High likelihood of him getting the first down. Then in the second half, he ran more than he has all season. Brian was all over the group chat during the game, frustrated about this. And I would just say, to pull a Jamie and answer my own question here, Duke did not bring Darian Mensah in to run the football, even though he did run the football more last season at Tulane than he has this season. The whole point of bringing him in was not to run the ball, but to extend the play, which he has done. We've talked about that at length throughout this entire season. However, there have been numerous occasions where exactly what Lane brought up has been the reality, where you see the open space in front of him and you think, man, if he just lowers his head and just goes, takes a dive he's getting the first down, and he'll elect to throw it. Now, oftentimes he completes the pass and he gets the first down, but oftentimes he doesn't. And he even got during, I believe it was the Clemson game, the commentators called him out for one of them where he could have taken off running. They're like, at this point in time in the fourth quarter, you got to give your body up. You got to run and take that dive and get the first down. And so, to Darian's credit, absolutely did that in the second half. I believe there were 3 different times he ran the ball, maybe 4. I think there was at least 3 times that he ran the football, and kudos to him. But I don't know if that was something specific that Coach Brewer talked to him about, but he definitely did it in the second half.
He did it, but on the flip side of it, a couple of times he held on to the ball too long. It's almost like he was deciding, should I run with the ball? Should I still try to go through my progressions and throw the ball? And then he would get sacked. So, yes, I was the one that was just typing in all caps, like, run the ball. Like, he had a good 5 to 7 yards, and if he had gotten that, it would have been either a first down or a short yardage play for the next couple of downs. So he did well. And yeah, I guess my question is this, because we were frustrated last year with Malik. He didn't run that much. When he did run, it was like, oh my God, it's a miracle. Mensa's kind of in that same, and I know what you said, Josh, but we're all just kind of like, run the ball. Is it almost like, and I'm not calling Jonathan Brewer out, but I'm almost like, he's like, hey, this is like option 5 of 3, meaning I don't want you to run the ball. It's either check your progressions or throw the ball out and get another down, or I'm trying to go through that as well with Lane, because in my mind, and again, I'm not a coach, never have been, never will be, if you've got that much of an opening, get the ball to as close as you can to the first down line. And if you need to slide and give yourself up. That's why the NCAA put those rules in to protect the quarterback. So I don't know. It was interesting, though, because I think the second time I text, I'm like, if he doesn't run the ball, then we are just going to stall. And then I think it was like 2 plays later, he starts running. And I was like, how do you like that? A QB running the ball and we get 7 yards. So it's very doable. But obviously, like I said, that is like the last resort for Darian Mensa. And to Josh's point, he wasn't brought in to be a true dual threat. He was here to run the type of offense that Jonathan Brewer wants to run.
Coach Brewer, actually, on the interception there on the sideline, he explained that away as Darian didn't see the guy. There was a guy there. He kind of slipped and then regained his composure as Darian was throwing the football. That's what he said. And then secondly, I mean, we can't have Daniel Jones again that can do both. We were used to having Daniel Jones. That's Daniel Jones's game. And unfortunately, we don't have
say Riley Leonard's name, Scott. I mean, that was also Riley Leonard's game, and I think Duke got spoiled by that.
I was going to mention Riley next.
My bad, Scott. My bad, homie.
But anyway, no, I was going to make a joke there, but I'll leave that joke for later. But honestly, either one of those 2 guys, it's great to have them for that. These guys are not made to do that. It is nice to see them run when the opportunity's there. And I think Darian could probably do it more. But flip side of that, too, some of the passes he makes down the field, was it the Georgia Tech game where he hit Cooper Barkate for the 25-yard pass over everybody? That's all he did. He was running to the sideline looking the whole time, and Cooper just got open just perfectly, just put it right in that window, dropped it right in the bucket.
He had one to Samir as well in the same type of vein. He was scrambling, he hit Samir. So yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not complaining about Darian. None of us are. None of us are complaining about Darian. The guy has been on a heater. He had his first bad game of the season, if you want to call it a bad game. 2 interceptions and a fumble. First bad game of the season. I'm not down on the guy at all. I will say, if you're going to be a successful NFL quarterback, which is obviously what Darian Mensa can be, you're going to have to be willing to stay in the pocket and take a hit and make a throw. And then you're also going to have to be willing to run and get down. And that's just going to be something that he has to do. He has to develop. And so I'm not going to say anything further because I don't want to insinuate anything, but he's going to have to do that in order to be successful. A couple more questions. We're honestly, guys, we're going to have to skip, like, shout out Tyler Lester, shout out the Duke. We're going to have to skip. He did say, "How's the basketball team doing? Where will you rank Cam Boozer among all the freshmen? Will Caleb Foster take the next step?" We're going to skip that one. Anyway, thought that was good. We're going to have 2 more questions, and then we'll go from there. JD at Fish Fry on X. Why is it when something works, the run or the pass game, from drive to drive, quarter to quarter, half to half, from game to game, it does not seem it seems that Brewer forgets how to do it from one drive to the next or one quarter to the next. If something's working, basically, it seems like we go away from it. What are your guys' thoughts? Because I think there's obviously something there to the question.
I don't know how to answer that question. I saw the question before we got on, and I was trying to rack my brain on how to answer it. Because, as we've stated, we're not coaches. We're not football coaches. We've never played football. We've never coached football. We just go off of what we see. So, JD, we're right there next to you wondering if we're going up against UConn with what did I say their rush defense was? I got it right here. 104th in the country. In your first series, you manhandle their rush defense. I'm going to take it from a different perspective. Are you trying to keep all of your players happy on offense because of NIL? I'm throwing that out there. We've never really discussed that. Because here's how I see it. We are basically NFL light, the NCAA is, for lack of a better term. If you have a player or players who feel like they're not getting their touches, they're not getting their plays, they're not getting the ball as much, technically, they can get an offer from another school. And it's always been like this, but it's more heightened now because of NIL and say, hey, appreciate it. I'm gone. I'm out. So I don't know if it's just something to where it's like, okay, Nate got his, but now we got to give Darian his and Cooper and Samir and Queso and insert all the names here. I don't know, but just thinking from a different lens, could that be part of the thought process of, I can't just keep giving the rock to our running back, even though we just scored on them in 3 plays. We've got to get passing yards or we've got to throw them off because, we all like to play Madden. We all like to play NCAA football. If you just keep pounding the rock and keep running the ball, the defense is finally going to figure it out and change their scheme to put 8 in the box. So I know I'm ranting a lot, but I'm just trying to think of a logical explanation and reason why you go away from what's getting you leads, scores, touchdowns to ultimately get closer to winning the game. That's what it's all about, winning games and potentially going to a post-game bowl or even the CFP. Because it's like I said, we're playing the 40th best defense coming up this Saturday. They're both good in the run and the pass. What do we do then? Is it one of those things to where after we go through our 15 scripted plays, let's just call it, we just go back and forth, we ping pong back and forth between running and passing? Do we go old school Carl Franks and just run the ball to see how many yards we can get? And if that doesn't work, then go to the pass? I don't have an answer. All these are great questions, and all we can do is just speculate because we are truly on the outside in. Guys, if you've got something else, thoughts-wise, that's just where I'm thinking of in this day and age with the current climate of college football.
Okay, let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you two because you two are here. How many times have you seen Darian change the play at the line of scrimmage? Exactly.
Yeah, not often.
So it's pretty much either they haven't given him control to do that, which I find odd if they haven't, or they're dead set. This play's going to work. You need to do what I tell you. Now, I mean, it's weird to think that we're going to game 10, and as Brian was talking, I was thinking about that the whole time. I don't remember Darian changing out of anything. So if it was a run against an 8-man box, we've run against an 8-man box. And by the way, Saturday, when they were in an 8-man box, we ran right by the guy when we turned around and handed off to the train and the castle. But I'm just saying. So, I mean, Brian does make a great point there. Are you trying to mix it up to make everybody happy? I don't know, but there's something to it to me, and I wish we could put a finger on it, because I think if we could put a finger on it, maybe we could fix it, and we wouldn't be sitting here at 5-4 right now having this conversation.
Yeah, I'll just add, number one, I understand. I believe it's always been a juggling act to keep the locker room happy. I think that's a real thing, and I think NIL has obviously heightened that a little bit. But I would say the best way to keep everybody happy is to win freaking football games, and the best way you win football games is to put your best players in the best positions to score more points, right? So, And what I don't understand, and Trooper Taylor, back when he was at Duke, explained to us how they did running back rotations in the running back room. And there was a specific way they did running back rotations. And I'll just say this. I do not understand Duke's personnel rotations on offense. I don't. I do not understand how we can be on a fourth quarter drive with under 8 minutes to go, and with all due respect to Anderson Castle and to Jacquez Moore, with all due respect to those two young men, Nate Shepherd is the alpha dog in the backfield. Period. End of story. And we have a drive where we could potentially go ahead a second score and really put the game out of reach. And Nate Shepherd is not on the field. Also, how do we have Cooper Barkate leading in so many statistical categories in the receiving in the receivers room in the fourth quarter, in the second half, complete drives, entire drives where Cooper Barkate is not on the field? It blows my mind. And he is better than others. I mean, let's face it. Just the same way Nate Shepherd is better than others. And I am all for the two deep. I'm all for Duke being fresh. I don't think Cooper Barkate is asking to be put on the sideline because he's not fresh. So, I would just love to see Duke, when it's needed most, you put your best daggone 11 guys on the field and you say, we're going to beat you, or we're going to win, or we're going to lose with our best guys on the field. And I don't understand the personnel rotations. There is no way that those guys are asking to be rotated out during those times. So let's work it out to where we have our best guys on the field when we need them to be there. I would even say that defensively. We mentioned a couple of guys that played a whole lot of snaps. And I'm sitting there in the fourth quarter on the final drive, and I'm like, we got a dude in here that I had to go look his name up, playing DB. It's mind-blowing. And I don't know what to say, but that is a frustration of mine. We are overtime, guys. We got one more question, if that's okay.
Let's do it.
All right, one more. All right, here we go. All right, we got to ask it. And shout out to Bentley Weeks for a great question. I'm going to have to do Bentley's, actually, because it's going to go into something we want to talk about. We'll go to Bentley Weeks. Shout out to Peter Dodge, not able to ask today. We love you. Bentley Weeks, it's not often you lose and end up having a better chance at the conference championship than you did before the game started. This has a chance to be the weirdest season ever. If we can do what seems impossible in Charlotte, how do you think we get over this massive hump and somehow go 3-0 to end the season? So we do want to talk a little bit about the scenarios that would play itself out in this insane and crazy season.
Coastal chaos is staying, and it is not going away anytime soon. Now, we found this. Did someone send it? Did Jamie send this to us? I think he did. One of the few contributions Jamie did for the episode tonight. I will say this. If you're watching on YouTube, you can take a look at this. Pitt fans have already crucified David Hale for this post. They're claiming that this isn't right, that Pitt controls their own destiny, blah, 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 blah. But essentially, if Duke beats Virginia, if Duke beats Wake, if Duke wins out, they're pretty much guaranteed a spot in Charlotte, regardless of any of the other games. Now, y'all need to help me on this because I was reading this earlier and I was getting a little bit confused. Is he saying if it was down between GT, SMU, and Virginia, then it would – this is what would happen?
Basically saying
Okay,
these three teams have the same record If these two teams have the same record, here's how the tiebreakers would work.
Okay, so if you're watching on YouTube, you can follow along. If you're listening, we'll try to explain it. So there was 4 different scenarios between all the one-loss teams. If it was between Georgia Tech, SMU, and UVA, Georgia Tech would get the 1 seed. The 2nd seed would be determined based off of strength of schedule, I believe.
Yeah, strength of schedule.
If it was between Georgia Tech, Southern Methodist, and Duke, Georgia Tech would get
Bro,
the 1
you just
seed.
got the Southern Methodist out
Hey,
there.
man. Hey, this is a free will independent
SMU,
Southern Baptist coming out. Just mentioning the Methodist, baby. Georgia Tech would get the 1 seed, and Duke would get the 2 seed based off of common opponents against SMU. If it was Pitt, SMU, and Duke, Duke would get the 1 seed based off the strength of schedule. SMU would get the tiebreaker against Pitt because of the common opponents. And then the one we don't want to have is if it was between Pitt, SMU, and UVA. UVA and SMU would reach the championship game. Their seeds would be determined at a later date. So what are we getting at? There's still just too much going on as far as what needs to happen. I mean, it's almost like, for all you bettors out there, it's like placing a 12-leg parlay and hoping every leg hits so you win the big payout, so you win the lottery. So it's simple. Like we've all been saying, just win the games. You win the games, your path gets easier, and it's a whole lot easier to figure out whether or not we need to book a Airbnb in Charlotte, if we need to get tickets for the game, or if we just need to look ahead to the bowl game if we get to go to one and go from there. So still a lot to play out. The big games this weekend, help me out, fellas. Who's playing this weekend? I know Pitt and Georgia Tech's next weekend, and that's going to probably knock one of those teams out. Is Louisville and
SMU? Is that this weekend? Louisville SMU.
No, you said the 22nd. That's the weekend that Duke and UNC play, the 22nd. I think those were the only other big games. Obviously, Duke and Wake.
Looking it up.
Yep, Scott's efforting.
All right, so this weekend, Clemson's playing Louisville on Friday night.
That could help.
Yeah, because Clemson actually looked decent against Florida State.
I mean, that's the only real conference game that matters.
Okay.
Pitt's playing Notre Dame, and that's where game day is, but that has nothing to do with the ACC standings.
And by the way, shout out to Pat Narduzzi, because someone asked him about that. They were like, how big of a game is this? He goes, it's not really that big of a game. It's a non-ACC opponent. He goes, they could beat us 100-10, and it still wouldn't hurt us. I mean, this is just me. Rest the starters. Get ready for Georgia Tech next week. Just let the second string get it in.
Well, no, that's stuff for us to watch though, for sure. It'll be a good game, the Pitt and Notre Dame. But yeah, so interesting. Great questions, guys. Thanks so much. We missed a lot on the mailbag. There were a ton of questions. Obviously, a frustrated fan base, rightfully so, understandably so. But we're moving on, and Duke's got to move on ultimately and play this Virginia team. And we don't have a lot of time to preview Virginia per se. But we do know this Virginia team boasts a really solid defense. If you'll follow our timeline and Brian's timeline specifically, leading up to the game this week, you'll see some of the stats that we'll be posting. But Virginia's got a great defense. Obviously, the quarterback situation really does matter depending on who's under center. We don't know, and that's gonna factor in quite a bit. And so this is a team that got off to a hot start and has stumbled here recently in the loss to Wake Forest. And so show up, be there. So we're heading to our predictions. Brian, tell us who won last week and then what we're looking forward to this week.
Well, it pains me to say this, but these guys played the game. We had 2 people predict UConn to win, and of those 2, Aaron Kellerman predicted UConn to win 37-24. So we actually got UConn score on the nose. So Aaron, your long sleeve shirt went out today, so hopefully you will get it before the game Saturday. He said he will be there Saturday, and if he gets that shirt beforehand, he will wear it. Now, as far as this week goes, I've got another beautiful long sleeve shirt given to us by the equipment staff for the Year of the Fan. Not going to lie, fellas, this one almost got lost as I was sorting through the inventory. Look at this thing. I mean, that is pretty sweet. I'm just going to hold it up, cover my face. So another official on-field apparel given to us by the equipment staff. Having trouble with the camera. So whoever gets the score closest on the nose, and of course you have to pick the right winner of the game, you will win this long sleeve shirt. Now, Heading into this weekend, 3:30 was announced today. ESPN2 on the Deuce. For all you YouTube TV customers, you better get to the stadium because there's still not an agreement in sight. The Big Rat has got his heels dug in. Duke comes in as a 6.5-point favorite. It started at 5.5. It's gone up a point. Vegas obviously knows something that we do not. Over under 57.5 points. Now, coming into this game, UVA's offense averages 33 points a game. Duke's offense averages 35 points per game. Virginia's defense gives up 21 points per game, and Duke's defense gives up 29 points per game. So Jamie actually did send us over his score prediction and combo. So let me read off part of it because some of this was not PGE. He said he's frustrated too, Duke fans. He's got UVA winning 45 to Duke's 24. And he said, why? That's why. That's all I'm going to say. And as far as the jersey combination, he is going with the blueberry blue out with the white D on the helmet. So 45 to 24, Virginia. I'll go next since we put him first for the first time when it comes to predictions. I think this is going to be another close one, and until they can prove me wrong, I'm going to have to bet against the Devils this week. It's been a while since I've done that. If Morris plays, then I think this prediction plays out 100%. If he doesn't play, then throw it out the window. Prove me wrong, Duke. I've got Virginia winning a close one, 28 to 24. I'm going to go a little bit different on the combo, not too different. No Oreos. I'm sure Josh will throw that out there. He loves the Oreos. I'm going to go blue helmet, blue top, white pants with the blue Hellraiser. Blue Hellraiser. It seems the Hellraiser brings us some good luck. So again, 28-24 Cavaliers. Duke, please prove me wrong. Let's get a win. Let's get bowl eligible. Who's next? Scott would be next.
Right.
Go ahead.
I'll go next. That's fine. One thing to say about the Virginia team that I didn't mention earlier, this team is very, they played every minute of every game. They've been to overtime 3 times. So it doesn't matter what the fourth quarter looks like. They're going to be prepared. They're mentally tough. They're going to be ready. So Duke just has to go in there, go one-on-one, slap the taste right out of their mouth early, light the scoreboard up, and just make them want to get back on the road, whichever way they want to go home, because it doesn't really matter as long as they go home with an L. I don't care how they get there. But I think Duke's going to win, of course. I'm not going to pick against Duke. I just can't. And, hey, I'm just dumb enough to keep doing it. So our 9-3 as a group, I probably would have got this wrong anyway. So as far as points, let's go 35-31. Why not? And I honestly agree with Brian, but I'm going to be different because why not? So obviously, I don't think they'll go back-to-back blue helmets with the script, the Gothic script. So I like the Hellraiser. I'm going to say blueberry the whole way with the Hellraiser.
All right. I'll do the uniform combo first. And for the record, I don't necessarily like the Oreos. I just know that Brian hates the Oreos. And so in the spirit of Brian hating the Oreos, I'm going to go reverse Oreo. You're not, we can't hear you. Something happened. Anyway, I'm going to go reverse Oreo.
I hate those worse.
Oh,
Better?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, those are worse than the Oreos. I hate reverse Oreos even more.
We're going reverse Oreo then.
Of course you are.
We're gonna go white, black, white, and we're gonna go Hellraiser. White Hellraiser, black, white. So that'd be interesting. Potentially never happened before. So anyway, score prediction. I'm gonna be real. We're going to score some points. We're going to score 38. We're going to score 38 of them. But defense, prove me wrong. They're going to score 41. And we're losing 41 to 38 in a shootout. Prove me wrong. I would love it. But that's what I got. 41-38. Reverse Oreos. Brian, it is time. The opponent, the Wahoos. and the segment that has made it through the years, not been removed. Did you know?
Did you know the Cavalier has not always been the mascot for the University of Virginia? Virginia's first mascot was a dog named Beta, who was cherished by the university community in the 1920s and 1930s. The canine was named after the Beta Theta Pi fraternity, which bought the dog. Beta was welcomed at most university functions, including dances, fraternity parties, and lectures. He even attended a course on Play-Doh at Cobble Hall so frequently that his name was included in the roll call at which he would bark out his presence. Beta's most famous exploit came after he was left behind in Athens, Georgia, following a UVA football game against Georgia. 2 weeks after, a scratch was heard at the back door of the Beta house. There stood a cold, ragged, and hungry Beta. To this day, it's still not known how he found his way home, traveling some 500 miles. Held by the university as the nation's, quote, #1 college dog, Beta was mentioned on a national broadcast of the Pontiac radio show and even appeared in Look magazine. Have no idea what either of those are. Unfortunately, Beta's time as a UVA mascot was cut short as he was hit by an automobile on campus and had to be put to sleep shortly thereafter. A statewide funeral was held for Beta, and an estimated 1,000 students marched in the funeral procession from the Beta House to the University Cemetery to honor Beta's legacy. And that was Did You Know for the Virginia Cavaliers. And I just realized that's 2 weeks in a row where the mascot has been unfortunately killed by a dog. So I'm going to make sure next week's episode, when it comes to Chapel Hill College, there's nothing involving a ram being hit by a car. My apologies, folks. I did not realize that.
Yeah, it's pretty morbid. But yeah, so did you know for the University of Virginia Cavaliers? Well, we want to thank you for watching. We want to remind you the tailgate, Hometown Air will be sponsoring, giving away shirts. They'll be there starting around 11:30ish. So make sure you're there. We'll be there all day. We'll obviously tweet out and put out on all of our socials what the menu will be. I know we're expecting a large crowd of Virginia fans that are going to be tailgating with us as well this week, and so we're gonna be killing it. It's gonna be an awesome tailgate. Do not miss the tailgate. You may be mad about what's going on the field, but come and hang at the tailgate. Okay, make sure you come do that. And then don't forget we'll be giving away the Gothic D snapback as well as part of that. There's going to be let me get the exact. For those of you that are like bourbon people, let's see here. Old Hillside Bourbon will be there doing tastings. It's the founders from Durham, and so Rocket Man has got him coming, and so they'll be there. So it's gonna be an epic tailgate. So don't miss it. We're in lot B3. It's open to the public. Just to be clear, it's open to the public. You can literally walk up. Anybody can walk up and hang out, eat, do whatever. We don't charge a cover or anything. There are a couple of areas where you can drop a few bucks in and take care of the Hard Hat guys or Rocket Man. So that's the way that works. Thank you for following along. Don't forget the ticket giveaway. We'll remind you one more time on that. YouTube only. Comment and giveaway plus your all-time favorite player, and that will enter you into the drawing for that. Make sure you're following us, subscribing, liking, sharing with a friend, sharing with a UVA friend, share with a UConn friend. We were complimentary to them tonight, so share it with them. And if they I don't know if they have football fans, but share it with a UConn football fan. And anyway, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Shout out to Jamie for not taking his computer. And Brian, you ready to take us home?
Yeah, next week we will be down another man. I believe the streak's going to be over, Scott. This is going to be like the first episode you're missing in how many years?
No, I'll be here next week. I won't be here for the Carolina recap.
Yeah, the week after.
Oh, okay. So we've got 2 weeks before the big dog goes on the shelf for recap. Okay. All right. So we'll all be back to give all things reaction to Virginia. Again, if you have YouTube TV, you have no excuse but to come to the stadium because there is no agreement in sight. Who knew that the YouTube TV and Disney debacle would last longer than the government shutdown? But with that being said, another episode in the books. We hope to see as many of you as possible in Wallace Wade this Saturday as the Devils take care of business, hopefully, against the Cavaliers. But for Josh Cox, for Scott Medlin, for the absent Jamie Holt and producer Tyler Witt, I am Brian. We're going to take the soundboard away from Josh by next week. This has been another episode of the Section 17 podcast.